What is going on, guys? FTM here from FTM Gaming. Got a build I want to show you guys. Been streaming on Twitch, and I've had a couple of people. They've told me they really like the build. They're getting the game in a couple of days, and it kind of made them want to make a ranger. So that was kind of nice to hear. But the idea of what I wanted to do was to mix poison and then have a heavy hitting skill. So just getting good damage over time. I always thought that was kind of interesting. So I wanted to try and build around it. My main skill that I would be using for clearing and mobbing is gas arrow. Snipe's my big damage hit. Vine arrow will slow enemies and it'll also stack poison, so even more poison damage. Poison burst arrow, this is my poison skill. It's where it mains poison, so this is my strongest poison one. Where if I've gone, in order, I'll go gas arrow, I'll go vine arrow, and then I'll use poison burst arrow. And doing it in that order will get the highest damage poison on all of the enemies. They all kind of stack based on how I've set everything up. So after the gameplay, I'll quickly hover over everything, and I'll go over the gear quickly and the skill tree quickly as well. But we'll show you some gameplay. But yeah, mainly gas arrow and snipe. Those are my main skills that I use. As I was leveling up, I used to just excuse me, I used to just use poison burst and snipe. But gas arrow, I think it complements it so well. Rain of arrows is kind of just an extra single target DPS skill I can kind of just pop. Whether it's on elites or bosses, it's nice. Sniper's mark and barrage, they both just kind of help with burst damage and DPS. Combat frenzy and wind dancer, they're my passive buffs. Combat frenzy will be giving me frenzy charges. Wind dancer just gives me more evasion rating, so more defenses. Let's get into some gameplay. So the idea of it, the reason why I like poison so much, right, is that you kind of just poison them, keep moving on. That's kind of the idea of it anyway. But let's head in the right direction. We'll find some big mobs. You'll see a bit more what it's like, but you can kind of get the gist of it. You shoot your arrow. The arrow has poison, like a cloud of poison. That poison will break their armor. Once their armor is broken, you'll see those little explosions on them. That'll cause a chain reaction explosion. Honestly, the more monsters there, the better. The build just seems to function really well. Yeah, after their armor's broken. Sorry. You guys will see the burst damage here, right? GG. So that's pretty much how it works. I'll go over it in a little bit. I'll show you some more gameplay while I'm doing it. So you shoot out the gas arrow, breaks their armor. After it breaks their armor, we get that explosion. After the explosion, a bunch of the monsters in the area generally will die. And also the gas from the gas arrow, you see the cloud, that can also be ignited as well. So that's even more AoE damage for clearing while we're mobbing. It's just insane. The poison is just, you kind of just shoot it and you keep moving on. You know what I mean? It's so good for mapping and mobbing. Even at least what I've done so far, at least to me. I was able to do mapping with my gear from level 39 with this build, with this setup. I'm not joking. Everything just functions properly if you kind of have a right few key pieces, which is awesome. So it's also kind of budget friendly, I guess you could kind of say. So if you're kind of new into the game, you never played PoE, you want something that's kind of easy to pick up. This is, I would say it's decently simple. You're somewhat of a glass cannon, but I tried to make myself a bit tankier, so it negates that a little bit, you know what I mean? But in my opinion, I think being a range class will help you as a new player, just in general. I think it's easier than being in melee, right? If you're in there, you have to dodge everything, or you just get hit. If you're ranged, you know, you got time to dodge a bit more. Just faster reaction. But I'll go over the gear quickly. There are pieces that I want you to get damage for specifically for those pieces, and then there will be pieces where you need to focus on your defenses, right? So the ones for damage will be your bow, your quiver, your amulet. Your rings can be damaged, but I would mainly focus, I would focus defenses. But having damage on it is nice, right? Your boots, your belt, your gloves, chest piece, helmet, all defenses. Those are what those are. So your defenses, your defense pieces, you want max life, you want resistances, you want more armor and evasion rating. That's just kind of how I've built it. I went armor and evasion rating specifically because I can still just stack evasion rating high enough, right? I'm still getting pretty close to 50% chance. And I get a bunch of damage negation as well too. It mitigates the one hits. I think it's just a smarter option, especially for starting out. Like everything's kind of new, learning stuff. I don't see anything like any downsides. I'm not seeing any negative effects with any gameplay or anything. I'm kind of seeing positives. I think it was excuse me. I think it was the right choice. So yeah, again, resistances, max life. Try and get as much of that as you can from these pieces. If you can get added physical and added fire on your rings, that's nice. And the leech is also nice as well too, because when you do enough physical damage, you'll leech a bunch. Because my big damage skills, I've crit over 200k, exactly 200k for snipe. So it can output some pretty crazy numbers, man. It's a lot of fun. Plus, it's super satisfying getting the crit with that. You have to time it right with snipe. So your damage pieces, your bow, you will want increased physical damage. You will want adds physical damage. I've got a bunch of life per enemy killed and mana. I think it's important just so you can kind of keep your health and mana up. If you don't have enough of it, get more on your gear or on your weapons. Any pieces, just make sure you're kind of able to keep your upkeep. Just kind of keep a mental note of that, right? Because when you also get into late game and maps, they do have debuffs where it'll halve your healing. So just having more healing is good. So that's what you'll want for this. Also crit damage. Get crit damage if you can. This will be physical damage, increased bow, projectile, crit damage, attack speed, and then whatever you kind of think will benefit you. I like the life per hit. I think just having more survivability, especially as a squishy character. I'm spec'd entirely into damage, so like just having more survivability is nice, man. You'll have times where I'm mapping and my health bar is just going up and down. It's cool to see, right? You kind of know that your defenses are doing well, and that's how you need to set it up, especially for late game. So that's what you'll want on your bow. Your amulet, I like to mix it like the rings, right? But I 100% recommend just getting more projectile skills. Okay? Level or projectile skills. If you can get more of that, if you can get that on your bow as well too, that's awesome. It's just gonna give you more damage for everything, man. It's like one of the best in slot stats. So 100% recommend that. We don't necessarily need to stack crit chance because snipe, if you release it at the right time, it's always a guaranteed crit. But we'll go into the gear quickly. I'll go over the boots. We'll go over the gems quickly, and we'll go over the boots because it's a part of everything. So you'll see here, physical damage is pinning. A lot of my attacks are physical damage. So I can constantly get frenzy charges from pinning enemies, right? Once every 2.1 seconds. So that will, one, buff my attack speed, movement speed, and damage, and I can also consume them with barrage to do more burst damage with snipe. How barrage works is, normally snipe only shoots one arrow. If I use barrage and then I use snipe, it will shoot 2 arrows. And if I have frenzy charges, it will consume those frenzy charges and deal more damage. So it's insane. I've had 200k crit snipe, and I know I'm gonna be able to get way more because I've kind of set my skill tree up, so we can just pick up more damage as we keep leveling up. So those are that's the big damage skill. Gas arrow, your AoE mob. Rain of arrows, more damage stack. Sniper's mark, you get more crit damage and gives you a frenzy charge. Barrage is more burst damage. So that's all good. I want to explain quickly how these work because I think it's very important, but I'll try and go over it fast. So how gas arrow works is you will shoot out the arrow, it will be a cloud of poison, it will poison them. Once, let's just say the monster has 1,000 armor, once you've done 1,000 damage with your poison ticks, right, his armor will be gone entirely, so you'll hit like a truck. You'll notice this significantly. So you will shoot that out, the poison will get rid of their armor, you'll use armor explosion. Once the armor breaks, you'll get an explosion. It does fire damage. If you use magnified effect, everything's larger. And we've buffed the fire damage up. So the thing about fire damage in this game is if you do enough fire damage, you will have a higher chance to ignite the enemies. And that's what we want for this skill. This is a totally self-sufficient skill. It will break their armor, it will explode so it will clear the mobs. And because the explosion from this will do so much fire damage, we have a very high chance of igniting. And because of the igniting, the gas arrow cloud that we send out will explode. So it all kind of synergizes together and it's amazing for mobbing. 100% recommend this. You could literally just use this build with this and this. Snipe. Big damage, right? So always crits if you release it at the right time. Window of opportunity, just shorter window, more damage, right? Super critical, more crit damage, doesn't matter about our crit chance. Heft, you'll get more physical damage if you're a higher level and you've got like a good bow. You'll hit bigger numbers. Heft is good. But if you're starting out early game, brutality will be doing more damage overall. So this is 4. I want to get this to 5 and I want to put faster attacks here. Purely just so I can get the skill out faster, right? It's just going to be insane for burst damage. So that's what I use Snipe for. That's what I use Gas Arrow for. Vine Arrows generally like our survivability. It'll latch out onto the monsters, right? It'll slow them down a significant amount. I think it's 55% slow, so that's really nice. But not only that, it will poison them, right? It will slow them. It deals chaos damage over time. On top of that, because the order we shoot everything out, we shoot the gas arrow, we put the vine arrow out second. The arrow, like the little flower that we shoot out, it will get poisoned. Since that will get poisoned, you will see here, poisoning the plant causes it to deal additional chaos damage per second. So it's more poison stack. That's insane for damage over time. That's really nice. So survivability, more poison. Poison burst arrow. How this one works is you shoot the arrow, has a little burst. The burst poisons them, right? But what we want from this is really high poison damage. This is my highest poison damage skill. So if I want to get some nasty poison damage, this is the one. I've set it up that way. So clearing, high damage, survivability, single target damage for poison. We will get an extra stack. That's super important. Make sure you get that. That's also an early game one, I'm pretty sure as well too, which is nice. Deadly poison, increase of magnitude, just completely complementary, right? Bursting plague. This is really nice. Like, this is insane. So not only does it have its own separate stack, so I can shoot out gas arrow, they'll get 2 stacks of poison. Vine arrow will like the flower itself will be poisoned, so it'll be a stronger chaos damage poison on all the enemies that are attached to it. We'll shoot this out, and then it'll do a bunch of extra poison, up to 10% of their life, right? But it's 200% damage per second, and this skill's pretty hefty, so that's significant on mobbing and bossing. And it's even better on mobbing as well too, because poison enemies gain plague over time and explode in a plague burst on death. That's really nice. It's just more AoE clear and amazing single target poison damage. Excuse me. So that's awesome, right? You can kind of see how that all works together. Rain of arrows. Purely just, I generally like to use this just to finish off elite packs after I've quickly poisoned the area, or just stack more damage on bosses. Just stack more damage, man. It consumes the frenzy charges, so you'll get a bunch more arrows who are coming out. And then if we crit on everything, more area damage, more area of effect. I want to get bleed on this, so it's just going to be more single target dot damage. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. That's the gear. It's working really, really well. Kind of just had an idea, I went with it, and it worked out pretty nicely. We'll go over the skills quickly. This is what I've done. We'll just hover over everything. I'm working on projectile damage, crit damage, and poison damage. These are my multipliers. That's what I've liked to focus on, and it's worked out really well, right? Another thing I would also recommend as well for early game is, so when you pick up the damage nodes, I would recommend also putting some nodes aside, say like, so you're coming through here, save some nodes for going down the tree and like going up there, that kind of thing, here and there, like 50-50. What that does is, in my opinion, is changed my quality of life when I'm going through the game. So when you're low level, these points, when it comes to increasing your damage, if you don't have a very good weapon, right, it's not going to be a significant damage increase. What would be more beneficial would be is to travel along the tree. So when you do get to like, you know, a decent level where like you can get somewhat okay weapon, maybe 10, maybe 20, it just depends how your luck goes, I guess. Your damage will be so much more significant with a better weapon, right? So your time spent would be, it would be better spending time traveling through the tree, going places, and so when the time comes, you can branch out and pick up all of the nodes that you need that's going to buff your class. Because when you get to higher level, every point that you have, it's going to be so much more significant, right? So, for example, say if I'm high level and I had all of this, but I wanted to come up here and get that, right? I would have to spend all these points traveling. Whereas if I was already here, I could just go boop, 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 and have a bunch more damage. It's a lot more significant. That's what I would recommend. So, you don't have to. You really don't. It's just something that I've done, and I've noticed it's been nice, right? In all honesty, as you're going through the game, you're like, okay, I need a bit more damage. I need a bit more defenses. Let me put some points into that, because you've already traveled. You've done the traveling. But yeah, skill speed. I want to come down and get this, not too important right now. I've tried to stack as much crit damage. That's a little bit crit chance. I'm trying to, right now, starting to build up as many frenzy charges as I can, because it's multiplicative damage. That's what we want. We want crit damage. I got this super late. I didn't start really picking up evasion rating till late game. I still kind of just had a bunch just from my gear as I was playing. But this is quite nice, right? Acrobatics. So I didn't get it till late, but I didn't need it until a point where I could still have, say, 70 or 80% of evasion rating. You're still getting hit, and you're just going to get one hit. You're using spacebar, and it's not happening. It's just not working the way you would want it to work, right? Acrobatics fixes this problem entirely. Your evasion rating will go down, but you will be able to dodge attacks. So it's a significant change. 100% recommend that. Once you have enough evasion rating. When you have enough. Because you can just keep picking up more evasion rating nodes. I would recommend around 50% evasion when you have acrobatics as well. So I've come across, come up, poison duration, poison magnitude, duration. I tried to come here and get this as early as I could just to get healing. So increased magnitude, more poison damage, right? Recover 2% on life on killing a poison enemy. That's super helpful. That helped me a lot early game. On top of getting like life on hit on gear, 100% recommend that as well as life per kill. I want to come down and get this as well, and I also want to go up and get these poison nodes. But I'm focusing on frenzy charges, so there, and some frenzy charges there, to basically buff my damage once I've built up my stacks, and then expend them, and the burst damage is going to be even more insane than what we've got. So Ascendancy, it's up to you how you want to go depending on what you're kind of lacking. At the time, I needed defenses. 100% recommend just gathering wins. You gain tailwind on skill use, right? So 1% increased movement speed, 3% increased skill speed, 15% increased evasion. 10 stacks. It'll go up to 10 stacks, but if you get hit, you lose them. But they come up quick anyway, right? So if you've already got a decent amount of evasion rating and then you chuck this on, your evasion rating is just going to shoot through the roof. It's going to be really hard for them to hit you. And that's what you want, right? And then when they do hit you, we've already got some armor, so that's not a problem. We've got some DR. I want to get this, but these are the only two ones we've got now. 30% chance you would gain max frenzy charges. It's quite nice, right? Especially if we're buffing it up to 6. And then this. It's going to be insane once I can get that. The damage is going to be... It's going to be fun, man. So, benefits from consuming frenzy charges for your skills have a 50% chance to be doubled. Wow. Just imagine that, right? Perfectly fair and balanced. I don't know, man. As soon as I get that, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see how it goes. I've already crit for 200k. And I don't know what we're going to push it up to, boys, but I could see it being a significant amount. But anyways, that's the video, guys. This is my Poison Archer. I'm on Twitch every day streaming. So if you guys like this, you want to kind of see more, come check me out. Feed the Machine Gaming, FTM Gaming. If you liked the video, give me a like, man. If you want to see more, give me a sub. I'm going to be putting out more videos. I have other classes as well too. This is just something I kind of had an idea. It seemed like a lot of fun. Always kind of wanted to try it, and was just testing stuff. It worked out really well. I went into the game kind of blind. Didn't really look into anything, and just wanted to experiment and just test things for myself. And yeah, it's kind of coming together. I could see there would be some more improvements, like filling out the skill gem slots, or just obviously getting better gear. But I think for the most part, this functions pretty well. So again, guys, thanks for coming by. Hope you liked the video. This is my first video, so sorry if it's not the best. Yeah, hope you liked it. Thanks again. Peace.